It was an incredible challenge and honor at the same time because I knew I had the opportunity.
The moment the word whitewashed entered the conversation, everything around the Michael Jackson biopic shifted. What was supposed to be a celebration of one of the biggest music icons in history suddenly became a battleground. And right in the middle of it, actor Colman Domingo stepping forward, not to deny the controversy, but to defend the film's approach. But here's the part that caught people off guard. He didn't claim the film would show everything. Instead, he made something very clear. This story was never meant to be complete. And that's exactly what made people start asking questions. So what is this film really trying to do? Is Michael a tribute to a musical legend? Or a carefully controlled narrative that avoids the most uncomfortable parts of his life? Because once Domingo defended the film against claims of whitewashing, the focus shifted. Not just on the movie itself, but on what it chooses to show, and what it doesn't. And maybe the bigger question is this. When you tell the story of someone as complex as Michael Jackson, is it even possible to tell the whole truth? The controversy began when early criticism suggested that the upcoming Michael Jackson biopic might be presenting a softened version of his life, one that focuses heavily on his achievements while potentially avoiding the darker controversies that followed him for decades. That's when Colman Domingo stepped in. He publicly defended the project, pushing back against the idea that the film was intentionally whitewashing Jackson's story. According to Domingo, the film is not meant to function as an investigative piece or a courtroom-style breakdown of allegations. Instead, it's being framed as a narrative, one that captures a specific perspective, not an all-encompassing judgment. That distinction matters, because it sets the tone for how the audience is expected to interpret the film. Rather than promising a full account of every controversy, the creators appear to be focusing on storytelling, on emotion, legacy, and impact. But that's also where the tension begins, because Michael Jackson isn't just any artist. His life includes both undeniable cultural influence and deeply polarizing accusations. So when a film chooses how to represent him, every decision becomes significant. The reaction wasn't just about a movie, it was about expectations. Audiences today don't just watch biopics for entertainment. They expect transparency, they expect complexity, and most importantly, they expect balance. So when the idea of whitewashing entered the conversation, it triggered something bigger. People weren't just reacting to what the film might include, they were reacting to what it might leave out. Because in today's media landscape, omission can be just as powerful as inclusion. And for someone like Michael Jackson, whose legacy is already divided, that tension becomes even sharper. Some viewers believe that focusing on his music and achievements is not only justified, but necessary. That his contributions to culture deserve to be preserved without being overshadowed. Others argue the opposite. They believe that ignoring controversy isn't neutral, it's misleading. And when Domingo defended the film's right to tell a story from a specific perspective, it didn't calm the situation. If anything, it made the divide clearer. At first, the public reaction seemed predictable. A major biopic about a global icon gets announced, and immediately, expectations begin to build. People assume it will be definitive, complete, honest. But then came the first layer. The suggestion that the film might not fully explore the controversies. That alone was enough to raise eyebrows. Because with Michael Jackson, the controversies are not minor footnotes. They're central to how many people understand his story. And that's when the second layer started forming. Colman Domingo's response didn't deny that the film takes a selective approach. Instead, it reframed the conversation. He emphasized storytelling over investigation, perspective over totality. But that's where things started to shift. Because once you admit that a story is selective, people begin asking what was selected and why. And that leads directly into the third layer. The realization that this film isn't just telling a story, it's shaping a narrative. And narratives, especially about real people, carry weight. They influence how future audiences will understand someone like Michael Jackson. They define what gets remembered and what fades into the background. And then something unexpected happened. The debate stopped being about the film's quality. It became about responsibility.